A tremendous amount of money is going towards comparative effectiveness and has been. ARA spent $1.2 billion, PCORI is spending about $500 million a year. One of the critical questions is it making a difference, or will it make a difference? NPC did a study that we've done every year, and it seems that it's always 3 to 5 years out before CER seems to be impacting practice. So we tried to probe this question and actually look at sort of landmark studies, randomized controlled trials, and ask the question, did these individual studies in 4 different areas, one was orthopedic surgery, another was mammographic screening, another was statins for cholesterol management, and stents for cardiac disease, in a variety of different areas. And we asked the question, did we see practice changing before and after the publication of these really important studies? So we looked at claims data with Truven as our partner, examined use of these procedures before that landmark study was published, and afterwards, and asked the question, was there a change? Bottom line is there wasn't much change. The use of these procedures, where the study might say for back surgery, you should probably see less of them, that didn't happen. In areas like mammographic screening with MRIs, where you would want to see an uptick, well, there was a growth before the publication, but not really an acceleration afterwards. So the question then comes up, why not? Well, we then ask the question, maybe it's the translation of the evidence into a practice guideline, and that's what will turbocharge change. Well, we looked at that, and the guideline publication didn't seem to lead to either an uptick or a reduction in use. So then we scratched our head and said, okay, so why is it? And these were important studies. These were not small little studies in a small country outside of the US. So I think there's a couple of lessons to be learned that PCORI might consider and that all of us in this space needs to consider. The first is, as a clinician, we clinicians are often hard to convince. And one study, whether it supports our prior belief or doesn't support our prior belief, may not change people's practice in ways that they really hadn't anticipated. On the other hand, bone marrow transplant for breast cancer, there were 5 simultaneously published studies, all pretty much saying the same thing. That, I think, is an opportunity for PCORI to fund multiple studies in the same area, and then I think we will convince practice. The second piece of the puzzle is communication of those results. If the results are picked up by the New York Times on the front page and Oprah Winfrey or other talk shows and talked about and popularized, that too can change practice by patients and ultimately by physicians. So although the results of the study were sobering, I think there's lessons to be learned that when we look back in a few years from now, CER in fact will have that impact.